a big
Don't wait, the garden is calling. Click now, tap the link and let's go.
Chris, are you ready for shooting?
No.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Wow, look at this beautiful lemon tree.
It's the best deal you've ever had at a nursery. Go online or come in store, spend over $100 and get a $30 beautiful lemon tree absolutely free.
I'm gonna go spend $100 so I can get this lemon tree for free.
With the onset of Victoria's wet season, lots of people are finding those wet boggy areas where trees and shrubs and things are going to die and they don't know what to do. It can be sometimes very expensive to drain an area. You still need trees and shelter and gardens there. And what you need is a really good, reliable, wet feed hardy plant. And the number one plant is your evergreen alder. This is your evergreen alder here, remarkably fast growing, can be flooded for several months a year and it loves it. You plant one like this, it can grow 5 meters in a year, but if you want one that doesn't grow too big, here's your weeping evergreen alder. This weeping evergreen alder is just gonna grow up like that, only up to about 2.5 or 3 meters, and then cascade down into a beautiful weeping tree. It never gets too big, but if it's in a boggy corner or a boggy spot, it doesn't mind. In fact, it loves it. It loves that wet boggy spot. So for an answer to those wet boggy spots where you can't get the drainage in, evergreen alder, weeping evergreen alder for a small beautiful tree, and then the upright evergreen alder for a beautiful evergreen shelter or specimen tree, and very fast growing and very, very hardy. Evergreen alder. We've moved our clearance section into a much bigger part of the nursery and it's absolutely enormous. We're clearing out lots and lots of stock and a person could put together a really, really interesting collection on the cheap. There's a whole section for $2, a section for $4, a section for $6, $10 and great big trees and bushes for 20 bucks. So come down here and put yourself a cheap garden, get yourself a cheap garden. Interesting collection, wonderful plants, just need a little TLC. Out of the clearance section, anybody can have a great garden now on any budget. Hey Sarah, where are you going?
I'm going to the hills. It's bare root season.
Wow, the bare rooted season is on again.
Let's go.
As the autumn and winter weather closes in, your garden can start to look a little dull. Now, if you want to get fabulous colour in your garden all year round that intensifies in the winter, this is the way to have it. What you've got here is you've got your coprosma, you've got your flax, your New Zealand flax. This is a New Zealand coprosma, a New Zealand flax, and then up the back here, you've got your cordylines. And your cordylines grow up a little bit taller. Your flaxes are sort of mid-size, and coprosmas kind of grow mid-size as well. And your coprosmas can be clipped, but they're a wonderful way to get a bit of colour in the garden, and they're a great thing to combine. Like look at this beautiful red, coprosma here, and you put that with that something like that yellow flax. A lovely contrast there. And all of these plants are extra hardy. They'll take the frost, they'll take the heat, they'll take poor soils, they'll take drought, and they'll deliver colour year round. And as it gets colder in the winter, with all of these plants, the colour intensifies. So coprosmas, New Zealand flaxes, and cordylines, a great way to have year-round colour that intensifies in the winter and brings your garden to life in the wintertime. Don't wait, the garden's calling. Click now, tap the link, let's go.
Chris,
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our live Q&A with Chris.
Hello.
Chris is here to answer your gardening questions live on today's show. We're just getting all of our platforms and everything up and running. We're on multiple platforms today, so if you've joined us on one of those, which you probably have if you're watching this, Chris is here to answer any of your gardening queries or questions, or maybe you have a question about a plant, or you want to ask him a question about what would be suitable for a certain area or your garden. What, you want to add anything to that, Chris? Just encouraging people to ask their questions?
Yeah, look, ask me anything about gardening. These days I do lots and lots of garden designs, and I have to come up and sometimes I do 8 or 9 garden designs a day, and people come in and we look at the garden, I ask them what they want, and then I have to come up with some concept for their garden. And so I'm very good at doing that very quickly, because I'll often do 8 or 9 in a day. And so you might want some help or an idea with your garden. And like, I've actually worked in the United States. I've worked horticulturally in China. I've got lots of experience in lots of different places. And
you even traveled to Japan at one point.
Yeah.
You brought a seed over, didn't you? From
Yeah, that's right. I brought back material from Japan. I haven't done that much work in Japan, but I've done lots of work in China and lots of work in America. So I've worked in different parts of the world, and I've got experience with plant propagation, gardening, garden design, and also plant production. And my main business and activity is the business of selling plants. And to sell those plants, that's why we do the garden design, so that we can. Good day, good, thanks.
Yes.
So this is a live Q&A for you guys who are watching.
Yep.
And we truly are live at the moment.
Yeah,
even
I've got
though
a guy
customers
wants a hand. What did you need?
Customers- Same way.
Go to Cola.
Gotu kola.
Yeah.
That's a tropical plant. I don't think we do it here.
Yeah. No. Not the cola nut. The Asian one. The.
Ah, right. I think I know. Would you be able to help this gentleman for me, please? He's after Gotu kola.
Yeah. Go to
Yeah.
Cola.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
it? It's a nut, is it?
It's a herb, I think.
Yeah.
cool.
It's a herb.
It's a
Good.
plant with
Yeah.
hand leaf like that.
Yeah. Got it. So if you
They
could
call
help,
it,
yeah.
They call it something again.
You might need to P&A, but anyway, I'll leave you. Thanks.
All right, awesome. So as
Yeah.
you can see, we are well and truly live. Customers are here in the background already asking Chris questions, but this live is actually for you guys, our viewers online, actually. So don't let this go to waste, and ask Chris a question. Maybe you want to know about a tree or a plant in the backyard. This is
Yeah.
your chance to do it.
Now, what's happening at the moment is that it's the bare-rooted season. Now, a lot of people might think the bare-rooted season is some sort of wild,
Wombat orgy. No, just kidding, sorry.
some sort of wild, crazy thing that goes
We
on.
probably got booted off TikTok after that. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, a lot of people might think it's some wild, crazy thing that goes on. But in actual fact, what the bare-rooted season is it's a time where the weather cools down in Victoria, and the autumn leaves form and drop off, and plants stop growing. And when they become dormant, a lot of plants could be dug up and transplanted. So this is the time of year when plants can be dug up and transplanted. And what it is, it's say, like at the moment, if you come in the nursery, you can buy a 6-foot silver birch for $29.99, whereas in summer, in a large pot with potting mix and that, it might cost you $129.99. So you could save $100 on a 6-foot silver birch right at the moment. But it's not just silver birches, it's all type. We've got fruit trees, we've got weeping trees, and gradually we'll have a nice big selection of roses, and we'll have all sorts of things bare rooted, and you can save. It's a great way to save some money, but it's not just. It's a nice clean way of doing it. You're not moving pots. You're not moving potting mix, and like those silver birches. Say you wanted a little forest of 10 silver birches, you could easily afford to do it because the price is down. But not only that, you find that you could actually carry them easily. You could take them out and plant them easily because you're not dealing with pots and potting mix and lots of weight and lots of difficulty. So. Bare rooting is a very handy and useful way to get lots of gardening done and save some money and save some time and save some energy. So it's quite an exciting time of year, and I'm always excited this time of year when the first bare roots come in, and then gradually every week the range of bare roots improves, and there's more and more different bare roots to choose from. And it becomes bigger and more interesting, and the nursery, as we get into the colder, more miserable parts of winter, the nursery gets busier and busier. So,
That's right. It's definitely a way more efficient way to get your garden done up big and more efficiently, and moving, as you say, getting stuff around is a lot easier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's time to get bare rooted.
Time to get bare rooted. Well, look, I think we jump into the questions. Now, don't be shy if you are watching us there. Please feel free to ask Chris a question. But we'll jump straight into our first question here, coming to us from Briggs, asking, can I use dwarf Nandina to make a hedge?
Yes, and what's great about a dwarf, like there's all different types of hedges. Actually, I saw there was an article about 30 or 40 years ago in the National Geographic where in Texas, a guy who was an oil millionaire what he used to do was buy a new Cadillac every couple of years. And what
Really?
he did was he buried the Cadillac's nose first in the ground after he'd finished with them. And
Yeah.
it actually made, and what a hedge is, it's actually a row of something. If you look up the actual original meaning of a hedge, and he made a hedge out of
Yeah.
Cadillacs. Now,
Holy-
if you could make a hedge out of Cadillacs, he just had a row of Cadillacs. He had like 20 or 30 Cadillacs. All his life he'd be buying Cadillacs
Oh my
and
God.
burying them nose first after he finished with them in the ground. And he'd actually made, and so although you may not really want a hedge of Cadillacs, what it does is, ever since I saw that, it gave me a lot of freedom about hedges. I figured that if you could make a hedge from Cadillacs,
From
you pretty
anything.
much you can make a hedge from pretty much anything.
That's
Because a hedge is
unbelievable.
just a row of something. But so back on, you're probably not wanting a hedge on Cadillacs, and you're thinking about Nandinas, which is probably more sensible than doing a hedge of Cadillacs. And but what's interesting is that Nandina grow about 45 centimetres. The dwarf Nandina, I imagine using that, or a Moonbay Nandina, grows 45 centimetres tall and 45 centimetres wide.
Yeah.
And if you plant a row of them, if you give them the odd drop of water, maybe weed them a couple of times, they would be one of the lowest maintenance hedges you can get. And then when you get into a cold, miserable winter, they turn a beautiful bright red. And I remember my dad had a property up at New G, and he put a big long hedge up either side of the driveway
Yeah.
of dwarf Nandinas, and because he used to love dwarf Nandinas. At any rate, when you pulled into the driveway on a cold, miserable day, the Nandinas would be bright red. The rest of the place would be sort of grey and green
Miserable.
and brown and miserable looking.
Yeah.
But that Nandina, I reckon it
Fresh.
warmed the whole environment. It warmed the whole, the whole look of it. So a Nandina hedge in the winter, particularly if you live out in cold, miserable country, like out Ballarat way or something like that, a Nandina hedge will actually warm the look of the land. Won't actually warm the landscape, won't get any more higher
Yeah, but
temperature,
I know what you mean. It's the visual aspect of
Yeah.
it will really, that's
bright red. And so they're a wonderful low maintenance hedge. If you wanted a formal square hedge, they're the wrong thing to do because they're sort of all round and fluffy. But if you wanted something a bit informal and loose and nice,
Yeah.
and they're incredibly hardy. They're incredibly hardy. Almost
they're
any.
a type of bamboo. Did you mention that already?
That's right.
or-
Yeah, it's a dwarf sacred bamboo.
Yeah.
And they're very, very hardy. And the other great thing about them as a hedge, say if you did them up the edge of your driveway, if somebody drops something on them, or they get a wheel on them or something like that, they bend over and then they spring back like grass because they really
Yeah.
are they're a complex sort of grass.
Yeah, and quite strong. Yeah, as
Yeah.
Chris said, very hardy, and they really do that visual cue. Gives it brightens up the
Yeah.
the environment.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. We are getting some questions rolling in now, so thank you to everyone who's asking questions. We will get to your questions shortly, but this is your opportunity to ask Chris a gardening question. We have one here from ESAS World saying, "G'day Chris, I'm planning to convert part of my lawn into a garden with some native additions. How far from each other should my native trees be, including Yuki dwarf, Silver Princess, Corymbia Ficifolia?" And then, do you want to answer that first? He's got another question after that. Yeah.
I reckon trees like that, to really enjoy them, you want to be 5 to 7 metres apart, and then
5 to
you
7
can put
metres.
other nice little natives in between them.
Okay, there you go. ESAS's World. And then another question here is, I have a big front yard garden with a jacaranda, mango trees, eucalyptus winter light, summer sensation, and pig face. How many Corymbia flowering gums should I add? Summer red I have.
Right, okay.
Do you want me to read it again, or
It
is it
depends
right?
how big your garden is, but I reckon you want it, like when they grow big, you don't want them squished up with each other, and
Yeah.
5 metres would be about as close as I would go with any of those gums.
Yeah,
So-
okay,
so
they're all
5
quite big, yeah?
Yeah, so it all depends on the size of your front yard. 5 to 7 is really a good range in where you're making a nice native garden
Yeah.
for those sorts of trees. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for the questions, ESAS World. And for those of you who've just joined us, we're currently conducting a live Q&A with Chris where you can ask him your gardening questions. So don't be shy, just drop a comment if you have any question related to gardening right now, and Chris will answer it live for you here on the show. So our next one here comes to us from Sally, who is asking, how do I know if my plant needs deeper watering?
Well, it's interesting. If if you had a tree, say like you had a birch tree or you know, a plum tree or something like that,
Yeah.
what happens is that, say you water it properly, and then you go away for a holiday, and for a whole week it's hot and dry and windy,
Yeah.
and nobody waters it,
Yeah.
it'll tend to die from the top down. It'll wilt and the leaves will drop up and die, and it'll die from the top down. But if you say you water it almost enough but not quite enough, it just hasn't got enough water,
Yeah.
the leaves will start to yellow and drop from the bottom up.
That's right. I remember we've
Yeah.
had this question
Yeah,
before.
so prolonged underwatering will cause plants to sort of tend to shed foliage at the bottom up,
Oh, wow.
and then a short, sharp denial of water will tend to cause them to dry from the top down.
Yeah.
So if I had some plants, like I was looking down the back here at some water gums that were in the back of a display, and they were dropping a few bottom leaves, and that told me that they were dry, that they were being watered,
Yeah.
but not watered quite enough.
Right, okay.
Whereas if they had have wilted or dried on the top, that would mean that nobody's watered them for a week, but they were watered okay before that.
Okay.
So I always look at top down, bottom up.
Top down, bottom up to. Okay, that's really interesting. And for those of you who've just joined us, this is a live Q&A with Chris where you can ask your gardening question. If you do want to re-listen to any of the answers from Chris, we do post this live on YouTube. After it's been completed live, we publish it, so you can re-watch for any of Chris's answers. Rachel says, I've purchased some Cleveland Selects, and they started to go into autumn colour, but some of the leaves are going black. Should I be worried?
Again, I wonder
would the
if
black leaves
you planted them, and again, I was shown a photo of some ornamental pears that had black leaves forming from the bottom today from a customer, and I told them to dig right down deep around the root system.
Yeah.
And if you smell, and that would be an indication of possibility of wet feet.
Wet feet, okay.
And so I said dig down and smell the soil down at the bottom of the root system.
Yeah, then you know.
And if
whether
it smells like a septic tank,
Yeah.
then you've got wet feet. But if it smells sweet in that, it probably needs a bit more water. So if a nice
sweet smells
a
fine,
sweet
yeah.
sort of soily smell is good. But if you've got the leaves dying off,
smells like
it's a
sewage.
lack of water.
Yeah.
Like so no. If it smells like sewage, it's wet feet. What is dryness?
Yeah, sorry,
Dryness and excessive wet look the same.
Okay.
But what it doesn't smell the same. So if you dig down where the roots are, right down the bottom of the roots, and you
Yeah.
get a bad smell,
Yeah.
then it's wet, too wet.
Okay.
And then it's got a drainage problem. You need to raise them up a bit,
Yeah.
and get them up above the water.
Yeah.
And if it's sweet smelling down there, it's a
Yeah.
lack of water.
Okay.
Because what it is, it's the soil isn't flooded with water,
Yeah.
and so the reason for the drying off is a lack of water.
Okay.
And very often what that's
Lack of
caused
water,
by
yeah.
is people bury them in too deep. And often what I do, where
raise them a bit, right?
I raise them, or I peel back the soil that they've piled up around them,
Yeah.
so the water can get in on the root ball.
Yeah.
So I'd be digging down beside the root ball, right to the bottom of the root ball, and I'd be checking for wet feet, which would be a nasty smell. If there was no nasty smell, I would say that those Clevelands are a little bit dry. And what you might do is just get a tool and just peel back the soil. You probably buried them in too deep, and when you water them, the water's not going onto the actual root ball.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right, cool. All right, that answers that. And ESAS World says, thank you very much, Chris. That was for answering about the natives and spacing them apart.
worries.
Yeah, you're welcome. Be sure to like this video before you leave, and make sure you subscribe to us if you're watching us on one of the channels where you can actually subscribe to these lives that we do. Appreciate the questions, guys. Keep them coming. Ensure that you ask your gardening questions now. Chris is here to answer them live for you. All right, next one comes to us from MWRT89. What soils are best for teddy bear magnolia in large pots?
I'd use a top quality potting mix, and really you could use any really top quality potting mix, but what would be important is that they love their calcium. And if I had a big one, say I had a big one in a if I had a big one in, let's say, a 20-inch or a 24-inch pot, I'd put half a kilo of dolomite lime sprinkled over that potting mix every 6 months, and then a month after that, I'd put on a couple of tablespoonfuls of Osmocote, 3 or 4 tablespoons of Osmocote. So a combination of Osmocote and dolomite lime would, and use just a top quality potting mix, and you'd be in business.
Awesome. And
one.
First one.
Yeah.
Now the second one is our last one, right?
Okay, no worries. Okay.
all right, best way to avoid scale. This is from the same person. Best way to avoid scale on my gardenias: tried neem oil and physically remove them.
Physical removing is good, because it's very environmentally friendly. But if you want a spray that really works, it's available commercially. I think you'd have to go to like Mitre. We've got it here in the nursery, or you'd have to go to Mitre 10, because at Bunnings they don't sell really poisonous. They only sell environmentally friendly ones, and some of those environmentally friendly are even friendly to the bugs. And so,
too friendly.
Yeah, too friendly. Yeah. So if you wanna whack them dead with a nasty chemical, you'd use something like Conguard. And I actually, if I've got a bad bug problem, I'll use Conguard. I'll use it as per the instructions. Like it is a nasty chemical, and I don't. If I've just got a few bugs and I can live with them, I just leave them there.
Yeah.
But if I've got a nasty problem, I'll use Conguard, and I'll use it as per the instructions, and I'll use it exactly on that thing at the right time, do it all, everything correctly. And I don't think it's, because it really does clean up the bugs, because what it is what's called a systemic poison. Yeah. And so the bugs that are eating or sucking your plant, eat or suck and they die. Yeah, and it lasts for about a month. So new little hatchlings they get hatched and then they die. Whereas if you're just using a contact spray, you might kill the ones that are there, and then the new little babies that are just emerging come out the next day and they're fine. Oh, okay. So that's where Conguard comes in. Conguard sort of keeps on killing it for a month after you sprayed.
All right, so sounds like you got to hit them hard, MWRT89. All right, next question, and keep the questions rolling in. This is your chance to ask Chris a gardening question. 6 years of horticultural expertise under his belt. All right, hello. This one comes from Akiki Peter. Hello, Chris. I want to plant a couple crepe myrtles next to driveway. What variety will not cause damage to slab? I also want the tree to go taller, not wider. Okay, and then he's got a second question. Oh, no, that's a different person. So yeah, that's that question from Peter.
Right, okay. Yeah. I reckon tall and not too wide is Tuscarora, unless you want a white one, and then you go for a Natchez. And Natchez, a little bit wider, but you give it a bit of a trim. But Tuscarora seems to grow quite tall and quite narrow. Yeah. And I think if you dig a nice big hole and get it in the ground properly, I don't think it'll cause a problem with the slab.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because they're
not aggressive, are they?
No, it's a 5 or 6 metre tree.
Okay, awesome. All right, good. Let's look at our next one. So you won't worry about the slab, yeah. Tuscarora
is a rich, hot, deep pink. Some people might call it a red, but it's not really a red. It's a very rich, hot, deep pink, almost red.
Awesome. Did you answer him on how he could keep it straight rather than wide as well, or is?
Some of the growers grow them as nice straight street trees. Yeah. Like if you're ordering one from me, you'd have to talk to me and tell me you wanted a nice straight one, because some people like them bushy and branched and artistic. Yeah. And one of my suppliers is doing them bushy and branched and artistic, and they're and so that'd be completely wrong for you. But one of the other growers, his are all being groomed to make beautiful street trees, and they're like big, beautiful straight rods. And I can do them in various different sizes. You sort of have to talk to me so that I ordered the right ones. If you just said, give me a Tuscarora,
you might get anything.
You could get anything. But if you came to me and reminded me, I can get you from the right grower that grows the nice tall straight ones.
Awesome. Okay, there you go, Peter. Hopefully that helps you out there. And again, if you want to rehear any of Chris's answers after this live, we publish it straight to YouTube. Just search for Hello Hello Plants on YouTube, and you'll see our lives are published there once we're completed here. About 20 minutes to go with this live gardening Q&A for you guys. All right, Debbie asks, what causes the leaves on a native frangipani to turn yellow?
Hi Debbie. If I had the odd leaf turning, we've just been, if you're from Victoria, we've just been through one of the longest dry periods that anybody can remember ever. And
Really?
and it was
Okay.
it virtually, it was raining nicely in spring, and then pretty much sort of mid-November, December, January, February, March, into
Yeah.
April, there was nothing.
Yeah,
And then it started to rain again.
that's right.
And
Yeah, it was quite dry actually.
And
Yeah.
you might, and it's quite possible in some areas there'd still be deep down dryness in the ground.
Yeah.
And I reckon the leaves turning yellow, what is it? There's a word for it. I can't think of the word. Gee. But translocation. So what happens
Is it shock? Is it?
is that humans do the same thing. If you have a woman and she's pregnant, and you starve her, she'll actually start, the bones and everything sort of go into the baby, like it'll eat you up, you know.
Wow.
So it's called translocation, and so it's
Well,
the
it
same.
goes to the baby first, you mean? So
It'll take part of the woman, you know, because it's called translocation, where something gets moved
Yeah.
where it's required. So what happens is that say you're a native frangipani, and you've got a shortage of moisture, like deep down. It could be a metre or so deep down in your garden.
Yeah.
There's dryness caused by a long dry period.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite healed yet, and so what happens is that the tree says, my new leaves are more important than my old leaves.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop feeding my new leaves, and they're going to turn yellow and drop off.
Yeah.
On my old leaves, and I'm going to put my water and my nutrients into my new leaves.
Yeah. Right.
Because we're in difficult times.
Yeah.
And we're in difficult times, and
Was that from lack of water? Sorry, or no, not.
yeah,
not
I
to-
would say lack of water and possibly lack of nutrients. But basically, the plant is doing what's called translocation. It's saying, look, I'm in a difficult situation. If I just don't give enough water to everything, I'm
Yeah.
only sucking up not enough water. So if I don't give enough water to everything, everything will turn yellow and drop off, right? And I'll die.
Wow.
So what it does, instead of dying, it says, right, I'm going to take half of my leaves, and I'm going to stop feeding them, and I'm going to slowly suck the good out of them. I'll suck all the good out of them, and I'm going to put that into my new leaves. So my old leaves, which were going to drop off in a few months anyway,
Yeah.
my old leaves, I starve them and let them drop, and my new leaves, I put everything into them.
Wow, that's really cool.
And that's called translocation, and it's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
And so it's a manifestation that people look at, and they could draw the conclusion that the plant is stressed with most likely a lack of moisture, but possibly a lack of nutrients as well.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a very comprehensive answer for you, Debbie, and very interesting indeed. What was it called?
Translocation.
Translocation is what's causing the.
Sounds like a
frangipani.
moving company, doesn't it?
Yeah, we could start a moving company called that. That's causing your frangipani to turn yellow, and hopefully, is there a solution, or what would you?
Water.
Just water. Okay.
So I think it's good to talk about. What you could do, if you've got a tree that's, like I had back, my birch trees in my front garden, they were looking great. And
Yeah.
then sort of in about, I don't know, middle of February, the leaves suddenly turned yellow. They just seemed to run out of water almost overnight. The leaves suddenly turned yellow.
Yeah.
And they were dropping like rain.
Bloody hell.
And I came home and the lawn's covered in yellow leaves. And
What was it again? The
birches in the front
Birches,
yard.
yeah.
And so what I did was I got a soaker hose,
Yeah.
and I just put it on nice and low, and soaked it for about a day, and got the water down a metre or so in the ground, which would be deep enough for a birch, and then they started to grow. Over the next few weeks, and I did it again in a few weeks, and they started to grow new leaves and recovered.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, good way to do it. And we've got plenty of great articles and videos online at Hello Hello Plants, showing you the tips and tricks of watering,
Yeah.
the keys to good watering. All right, well, there you go, Debbie. We'll move on to our next question. And if you're sitting there watching the show and you want to ask a gardening question to Chris, feel free to drop your question in the comments section. We try to get to all of the questions on today's show. Next one comes to us from Kylie. What plants like boggy soil?
Well, but most grasses, as a general rule, most grasses are happy in boggy soil. There's probably a couple of grasses that are not.
Yeah.
But your native grasses, your exotic grasses, and your bamboos. I was brought up in the country, and we had a bit of sewage overflow on the back lawn, and my dad told me to plant bamboo around it. So we put bamboo around it because bamboo is always useful in the country. Probably you can make stakes out of it, and a bit of bamboo is often required for something.
Yeah.
So we planted bamboo, and it did fantastic there.
Wow,
So Nandina is really a type of bamboo.
Yeah.
So and probably you'd remember this from when you were a kid. And we've got them here. Gunnera manicata.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Your giant Gunnera.
They love water, don't they?
They love water.
Yeah.
And Gunnera manicata. Actually, you could grab one. There's some over.
Does you know what it looks like?
No,
I'll have to go
You
get.
go get. They're prickly
Okay.
looking things.
Where are they?
Anyway,
I'll go
I
get
used to. Gunnera manicata is a plant that I really, really love, and it has. If you've got lots of water somewhere, a real boggy spot, you put a Gunnera in the boggy spot, and it needs water all year round. Your Gunnera will have leaves up to 2 meters across, and it soaks up water like there's nothing that soaks up water like a Gunnera. And I remember when Emlyn was a little kid, I grew a couple of thousand of them, and they were monstrous. And the kids used to pretend it was the Gunnera. We had a big field of them near the house, and the kids pretended it was their tropical jungle, and they'd go in there with machetes and chop their way through the Gunneras, and here's a baby. This is a baby Gunnera here. But imagine if you've got a boggy spot. This just adores a boggy spot, and they're very rare. But if you were to visit the rhododendron gardens, just at the back of the building there, so there's a big kind of a big hole, and at the bottom of the hole there's Gunnera growing around a little lake there. That's one place I know that you could see Gunnera, but they're really interesting. They've got prickly stems, but they're kind of the ultimate bog plant.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they just love water. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
I've got one in my backyard in a pot actually. It just loves being watered.
And I used to mail order them and recommend to people, in a country where they've got a sewage outflow or something like that, to put this there to suck up the water.
Oh yeah,
and they'll get
huge. Yeah.
They get leaves 2 meters across, and when my kids were little, I had them in the garden near the house, and it kind of, what I had was that the Gunnera had giant. I had other plants there with giant foliages, and the giant foliage would be bigger than some of the little cute trees, and it kind of makes a really. I remember being there with a little kid once, and they were looking around at it, and they said, "This is magic."
Yeah.
And what it was, when you have leaves that are bigger than whole trees, it's kind of
interesting. Yeah.
It creates a sort of a twisted dimension, which is kind of fun. But basically, back to the answer. So grasses, and your nandinas, which are a type of grass, bamboos, are all really good. Willows are fantastic, and we have these days. A lot of willows grow too big for the average suburban garden, but we have a miniature willow here called a nashiki willow, which is not too big or too dangerous.
Yeah.
And the other thing that is really good, if you have got an area that gets periodically flooded and it's really, really boggy and you want a tree there, we've got a thing called an ulmus, or alder.
Alder, yeah.
Ulmus is the Latin name, alder is the common name.
Yeah.
And we've got a miniature ulmus, which is evergreen.
Yeah.
We've got miniature willows here. We've got a miniature ulmus which is evergreen, and it weeps.
Yeah.
Or we've got one that's not miniature that grows really giant. But ulnuses can take flooded situations and they suck up I
was going to say the ulmus actually. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
And if you've got a boggy area, it's one of the best ways of drying it up. And because where a willow tree goes to sleep in the winter, and often in Victoria, the wet area is wettest in the winter.
Yeah.
Your ulmus is awake and
They're
growing
sucking out the water
in the winter, so it's sucking all year round. It's suck all through the winter.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and the only thing is sometimes those spots dry out in the summer, and then you've got to put a bit of water on your ulmus. But ulmuses are fantastic trees for sucking up big lots of water. So a recap there: ulmus,
Ulmus, yeah.
Ulmus, willows, and
Willows,
we've got little miniature. We've got miniature Celtic cascades, and we've got miniature Nashiki willows.
Yeah.
And then you've got your whole range of grasses and bamboos. All of them are loving plenty of water.
Yeah, and your Gunnera as well.
And your Gunner and Manicata if you want a bit of fun in the mud.
Yeah. All right, awesome. That there you go, Kyla. It's a few options, and again, if you wanted to rehear or hear the answers to Chris's questions, not to your question, hear the answers from Chris, simply go over to YouTube and search for Hello Hello Plants. We'll publish this live as soon as we're done here in about 10 minutes.
I'll say one more thing. Most of your callistemons will grow good in a boggy spot.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, most callistemons are wet spot hardy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. If you want to go natives
And
as well.
callistemons are great evergreen. They're a great evergreen shrub with beautiful flowers. The birds love them, and they love the bogs.
Awesome. Well, there is quite a few options for you, Kylie. All right, keep your questions rolling in. We do endeavour to get to all of your questions, guys, so hang in there. All right, Carlos is asking, is teddy bear magnolia a good option for screening?
Teddy bears are very, very expensive.
Yeah.
They have beautiful foliage, and I know ladies particularly love them.
Yeah.
And
that's one behind you, actually, if you can see in the background.
And
there.
they're a fairly neat conical shape. And in my garden designs, I often use them as a feature tree because I love the shape of them. I love the beautiful curled foliage. But as a screen, I'd be more likely to use a Little Gem because it's much, much cheaper.
Yeah.
They flower a lot more, and they don't. In fact, the
Little
amazing
Gem,
thing
that's
is
the
Little Gem. If you were to come in here this week or go online and buy a plant from us this week, you get one of these for free. Beautiful Little Gem magnolia. So Little Gem magnolia, and so Little
How much do you have
Gems,
to spend to get a free one?
$100.
$100, all right.
Yeah, spend $100.
In
you get
store
one
or
for free.
online too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In store online. So if you've been thinking of buying something from Hello Hello, maybe you want one of those wild, crazy Gunneras. Or something else. If you've been thinking of going online, get online this week and get yourself a Little Gem. And Little Gems are the favourite magnolia for Melbourne.
So you reckon they're better for screening, getting back to that question?
Well,
rather
they
than
flower
teddy bear?
more. They flower more. They cost about a third as much money.
Yeah.
They cost about a third as much. They flower a lot more. And I think they're a great small screen. And then if people come in and they want a big screen, I sell them an Exmouth magnolia. So generally
Exmouth, yeah.
but then there are people that love the foliage and the shape of a teddy bear. It is absolutely unique and willing to spend the big bucks. But, like buying one teddy bear is a bit expensive. Buying 10 of them is real expensive. But for the people that want to do it, it's not a bad thing. But generally, I would go for these because, like, say these really nice ones like this, we've got one for free. But if you came in the store, you could buy really nice ones. That's nearly 3 foot tall, and it's $30.
That's great value, actually. Like you could end up buying several of those in 8-inch and have them all the same size and get a free one.
Yeah.
How many per metre would they do for a good
I'd
hedge?
go about 1.4, 1.5.
1.4 to
Yeah.
1.5. Okay.
So the thing with those, 10 of these, $300. It's a cheap, and that would make 15 metres of hedge, which would cover the average front fence,
Fantastic.
or back fence.
Yeah.
And so $300. And it flowers. It flowers more than a teddy bear. It grows about the same size as a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Not perhaps as neat a shape as a teddy bear, but still, and trims up nicely. You trim it up nicely in a hedge or screen. So I would use these more often as a hedge. And teddy bears probably less often as a hedge, but very often do I use the teddy bear as a beautifully shaped specimen. Particularly, a lot of people come in for garden designs and they're doing those beautiful sort of French chateau type houses.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a really nice shaped tree in front of the house, and teddy bear's very often the one that I go for.
Okay, so teddy bear more as a feature, and then the Little Gem more for a hedge.
For a neat, smaller
screen,
hedge, and
yeah.
the Exmouth for a big hedge or screen.
Awesome. All right, Carlos, I hope you got to hear the answer to your question there, watching us over there on Facebook. All right, we'll keep moving along. We've got a couple more questions to get through before we wrap up. MWR89 says, thank you, Chris, for answering the question.
No worries, mate.
That was the best way to avoid scale on the gardenia and the best soils to plant the teddy bear magnolia. Seems the teddy bear magnolia is quite popular today.
teddy bear bungalows are popular every day.
Every day, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only time they get a bit unpopular is when people have to pay for them. Yeah. I get people going, oh, I want 10 teddy bears, and then you kind of
they're
tell
like,
them the
"Oh,
price,
no."
and often we're a couple of minutes later we're overlooking at the Little Gem stand.
Kylie says, what's the best product for sooty mold on citrus? What's sooty mold?
Okay, sooty mold.
Type of mold is it?
Yeah, sooty
Okay.
mold is really normally an indication that you've got an insect infestation, and they're excreting onto your citrus.
Gross.
And that excretion is getting black mold on it. That would be a normal thing. And so what I would be looking for is not so much getting rid of the black mold, but getting rid of the bugs that are causing the black mold. Unless you're in some area where it was really shady and excessively wet, like you're sort of underneath the canopy in a jungle somewhere, you might have the black mold.
Yeah.
And then you would look at some sort of fungicide. But
Okay.
But in a normal sunny garden, what I'd be worried about if I saw a lot of black mold, I'd be worried about an insect that was sucking the sugars out of the lemon, excreting it onto the leaves, and causing black sooty mold. That'd be a more likely occurrence.
Okay. All right.
And then I might go back to the Congard and give it a little snifter of Congard.
Yeah.
Or you could use something mild like a bit of neem and a bit of dishwashing detergent mixed up with a bit of neem or a bit of pyrethrum. That would be a nice natural thing that you could use.
Okay. All right, so there's a couple of options for you, Kylie, in order to handle the sooty mold on the citrus. Next question comes to us from Has86 Show. Possible to grow, I don't know what this is, you might know, Carolina Reaper in Melbourne.
No, I'd have to Google that.
Yeah, let's have a quick look, hang on.
What's the next question? I'll answer a
All right.
question while you're looking that up.
So Kylie then came back, how big do they grow though? I'm not sure if they might be talking about the Little Gem maybe, or did you say how
Little
big they grow?
gems grow about 4 meters.
Okay, cool. And then another question here is, you probably answer this in one word. Do you ship, I'm in South Coast, New South Wales?
We don't, unfortunately, because there's a bit of a quarantine thing out of Victoria because of some little bug that we've got here.
Okay, and then apparently we have look, it's on our website, Carolina Reaper, chili plant.
Oh, wow, yeah. I think it's getting a bit late in the year. Yes, we had the Carolina Reaper.
There it is.
It's an extra hot, dangerous kind of a...
Chili.
Chili, yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah. So,
The question was, do they grow in Melbourne?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
One of our growers grow them, and we have a fabulous range of chilies here, sort of starting in December and running right through January and February. And Carolina Reapers were virtually
extreme
amongst
hot.
them.
It's got 3 pluses on it, extreme.
Yeah,
Must be really hot.
yeah.
All right, awesome. So, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh yeah, so the time one of our growers grows about 50 different types of chili, and we put them all up online, and they tend to be in store December, January, February, and then as the weather starts to cool, we cut back on them. And at this time of year, you'd be lucky to find a chili plant in amongst our herbs.
Okay, cool. So wait until the right season, and you'll
Yeah.
be able to pick some up. Yeah.
And if you plant one at the right time of year and really get it growing and well established in the right nice sunny spot, they'll last you for 3 or 4 years in Melbourne.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so
actually, you
they-
get a couple of seasons out of it.
Yeah, they're a kind of a multi-year perennial, but not an annual.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, if anyone has any last-minute questions, we're going to wrap up very soon. Feel free to ask now before we wrap up the live.
So we've got the Carolina Reaper.
Yep, Carolina Reaper, and you wanted to circle back to, we did that, we circled back to the Carolina Reaper, then we had Kylie asking if we ship to South Coast New South Wales, so we're just waiting for that. Are we waiting for a bug to, what's the situation? Does the bug have to die?
We've got a quarantine situation. We're
Okay.
waiting for that quarantine situation to stop.
Okay, and it's due to an outbreak on a bug.
Yeah.
Hasbro 86, Has 86 Joe says thank you. All right, here we go. Got another question here. Oh, okay, yeah, Has 86 Show, it does say this on the website. It says, is it in stock? Says it on the website. So probably,
I'd say not in stock,
Yeah,
and
not in
really
stock.
come back to me in December, January.
yeah, sometimes our website's not always up to the
date,
minute.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll get that fixed up. But come back. Sorry, did you say spring or summer? For
December, January.
December, yeah. So come back just before Christmas or around Christmas time. Be the best time to do it. All right, cool. There's a couple extra questions just coming in before we wrap up. Any suppressed gardening questions, get them through now. All right, user something or other says, how to get my Murraya paniculata to get taller? And then it sounds like they want to hedge it. So, it says, they've rephrased the question, how to get my Murraya paniculata hedge to get taller?
Well, they love their fertilizer. You might start with a little bit of dolomite lime along the base, perhaps like a kilo per metre along your hedge. I'd run a bit of dolomite lime along there, leave it for a month, and then a good hefty dose of Osmocote. So go with a good hefty dose of Osmocote, and you follow the instructions, but a good hefty dose of Osmocote, and then in the warmer months, up your water. It loves the summer wet season. So bit of dolomite lime should last you a year. Osmocote every sort of 4 or 5 or 6 months, and up the water. And you should, when that warm weather hits, you should start to see the growth flying up. They water, a bit of heat, fertilizer. Your Murraya is going to go for it.
Awesome. All right, well, I think that pretty much... Oh, hang on a sec. What do we got possible? All right, one last question here. And thank you again for everyone who's joined us asking questions. Please make sure to like this live. We do it every Monday at 12 o'clock and live Q&A, Standard Eastern Time Australia, with Chris. This is for you guys, actually. It's not for us. We don't get anything. I mean, other than Chris enjoying to answer your questions, there's no real kickback for us other than helping you guys. We enjoy helping you guys do better in your garden and get the answers to the questions you need. So join us every Monday at 12 p.m. for this live Q&A, and we'll happily answer your gardening questions. We'll answer one more here before we sign off. Chris, this is from Has 86 Show again. Possible to plant Panama Gold passion fruit in winter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But choose your spot. What you want is a little sun trap, a nice little warm
Slightly
sun trap.
sunny, yeah.
And they love fabulous soil. Panama Gold it is.
Panama Gold,
Yeah.
yep.
And what they like is they like a sunny spot. They like lovely rich soil. If you mixed up some potting mix and some compost, and if your spot wasn't quite right, put it in a nice big pot, put it in a warm window or something in the house,
Yeah.
and grow it through the winter, and then put it out in the springtime would be one possible way of
Yeah.
operating it. So you could
West facing?
if you had a nice sunny, perfect window would be a sunny north-facing window.
North facing, okay.
Good
yeah.
quality potting mix. Keep it moist. You would find that it would it'd go berserk, and then you'd plant it out in the springtime. Or if you had a nice little sort of sun pocket outside, maybe with a brick wall behind it, and the sun coming in and
Yeah.
warming the wall, and you're going to have need a bit of trellis for it to grow on.
Yeah.
Do everything right, and it'd be fine to plant now, or find a plant in a nice big pot in a north-facing window for the winter.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, there you go, Has 86 Show, and thank you to everyone who joined us
Any
today.
more questions?
All right. Well, if anyone has a last-minute question, Chris is willing to answer it. This is the live Q&A. This is your opportunity to ask Chris a gardening question before we wrap up. Has 86 Show says thank you. Anyone else have any gardening questions before we wrap up the show? The other thing we should probably mention is the Too Many Plants event, which is
Right, here we are.
This
That's
coming
right.
Friday.
Too Many Plant
tell them
sale
about
is
that?
on now.
It's on now, yep.
Yeah, it's on now. And what it's all about is, like, if you spend over $100 at the moment, if you come in and you spend anything at all, we're chucking in a beautiful lavender plant for you this week. So a beautiful lavender plant if you
What?
spend...
Oh, that's amazing. Where is it?
Lavender.
Yeah, lavender?
Yeah, lavender.
Okay, wow, okay.
That's the new information.
Yeah, this is new information for
Go
the
out
marketing
there,
team.
grab an Avon View lavender. It's the
Avon
latest
View.
new thing. I've just negotiated the deal with the nursery.
All right, so we've got free lavender this
I've
week
got
as well.
1,200 lavenders to give away.
Fantastic.
And Yeah, so you got 1,200 lavenders to give away this week. And so anybody comes in and buys anything. But if you spend over $100, instead of getting a lavender, you get an amazing little gem magnolia. And then there's a whole page. Tell them about, there's a whole page of specials.
Yeah, so if you head over to hellohelloplants.com.au.
That's not the one that you give for free though. That's you need a 140 mil, a 140 mil, a 6-inch.
6-inch pot, yeah. So if you jump over to hellohelloplants.com.au and search on Chris's blog, or from Chris, there's a blog, and you'll see there's a page called Too Many Giveaways. Actually, sorry, it's in Chris's blog sales.
This is too many
tabs. Yeah. Anyway, there's a page called Too Many Giveaways. You can probably search the page for this, and inside there you'll find, you can't see it on our screens here, but inside there you'll find all the different types of giveaways. You want to just maybe give an example there, Chris, like...
yeah, like for instance, I'll just give you one of each. So say you spend over $200, you can get a mother-in-law's tongue. But anybody come in gets one of these lavenders. Well, there you go. There it is, an Avon View lavender. Now, lavenders produce beautiful flowers that you can store and make potpourri. They give off beautiful fragrance. They're a wonderful thing to have in the garden. Or you can grow your lavender. Anybody can have a lavender. You can grow your lavender in the pot. And this Avon View lavender, by Christmas it'll be quite big and it'll be covered in beautiful fragrant flowers. So lavenders for free, every customer.
Beautiful. Yeah. And then we have different spend tiers if you shop in store and online. So if you head over to that page, it'll tell you exactly what you can get for free when you spend a certain amount. So it's a great time to do up your garden, do it on the cheap as part of the Too Many Plants sale, and also get yourself a freebie. For example, spend over $500, you get a free pink or white weeping cherry, which is a fantastic deal. And so that's part of our Too Many Plants event. So we'll go live this Friday. Chris will announce 100 more of our incredible products as part of that Too Many Plants event. We'll go over our freebies. And are we doing an auction this week, Chris? Do you know? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll have an auction. We'll announce that soon this week at some stage. We've had quite a few questions come through. How many more questions do you want to do, Chris?
Let's do a couple more. I'll be quick. I won't be quick.
All right, let's be nice and quick. So, what's your fave? This might stump you. What's your fave indoor plant soil? Indoor plant soil.
Indoor plant soil.
Yeah. What would you use?
There's actual. I haven't got any myself, but I had somebody working for me told me, and you can get soilless indoor plant soil. So soil that ain't soil, and the bugs what's good, the bugs don't live in it. So
I've heard about that. Yeah,
that's something I'm meaning to get in store here. But if you hunt around, there is soilless indoor plant soil that ain't soil, and what's good is those little things that fly all around the house.
Those little, what are they called? The fruit flies, or whatever they are. Yeah.
Oh, whatever they are, those little bug things, they don't come out of it. So that would be my favourite, although I haven't used it yet. But I'd love to get some and use it.
All right, that's for you, Just Jeski. And then Jules says, should I feed my lawn now, winter time?
Yes, and it might be good to do a pH test. And what lawn loves lime, and as long as you're not in an area that's naturally alkaline, but lawn loves lime, and the presence of lime and a high pH, an ideal for growing a beautiful lawn. Nearly every lawn would like to be about 6.5 to 7 on the pH scale.
Okay.
And so what I would be doing now is putting a good dose of lime and then waiting a month or so, and then you could use something like a dynamic lifter, something to get your nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium in. Your NPK could be done with a fertilizer like a dynamic. You don't want to use expensive Osmocote on your lawn. You want to use a nice cheap product.
Yeah.
And so a nice NPK. But what you'll find is by using
lawn though, like do you have to use something?
Just sprinkle it on
like
with your hand.
With the water, okay.
With your hand.
Yeah.
And so I'd imagine dolomite lime, follow and leave it for a month. And that increases your pH.
Yeah.
And then follow up with and normally to get an effect with lime, you'd have to use a reasonable amount, like half a kilo per square metre or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
So you'd whip it on and you'd turn the lawn white.
Yeah.
Leave it for a month. Let the rain and that wash it in, and then put on an NPK like a dynamic lifter or something like that.
How do you get the dynamic lifter into the ground though? Like
You just sprinkle it on.
with water or
Sprinkle it on.
or just with your like
You sprinkle
hands
it on
or-
with your hands, and
Okay.
the rain at this time of year, the rain and
Oh, we'll
that'll-
push it through.
we'll push
Okay,
it
that's
through,
what I was
yeah.
trying to understand. How
It'll
it gets down.
disintegrate and push through.
All right, cool. All right, there you go, Jules. All right, we'll rapid fire a couple more questions here. Can any? This is from Has86 Show. Can any passion fruit be grown in a shadier spot? No, I don't think we asked this one yet. Shadier
Passion
spot.
fruit loves sun.
Yeah. Okay. No. So that's a no.
Yeah, so, well, they could do it, but they're not going to be happy. They're not going to get top performance. Top performance will happen in the sun.
All right, beauty. All right, there you go. Has86 Show. Squeaker94 says, how long would weeping lily pilly hedge take to establish on the south side of a fence? And is there a quicker growing option to block out the fence?
Okay, south side of the fence, I'd be much more inclined to use a sweet viburnum.
Yeah.
Sweet viburnums love the shade,
Yeah.
and they stay green and lush in the shade. What's going to happen with your weeping lily pilly? It'll grow there, but it'll
Yeah.
tend to grow to the top of the hedge and be balled down in the shade.
Okay.
It won't keep the leaves on, whereas a sweet viburnum will keep leaves right down low and in the shade.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, no worries. And then there you go, Squeaker. Reese says, what's the best way to kill calla lily and clover?
Canna lily,
Yeah,
Or
it
calla-
says calla lily.
calla lily.
What's calla? Is that canna lily?
Yeah, I
Lily? Is it the
reckon.
same
I
thing?
reckon a bit of Roundup wouldn't go astray when it's all growing and
Roundup.
healthy. Get it grow. You know, sometimes what farmers do is that they water and fertilise their fields, get them really healthy and nice and green, and then Roundup will take up really, really well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right, Roundup for that one. Bit of strong chemical.
Roundup isn't really Roundup. The proper name for Roundup is gypsophlorate.
Okay.
So any
Gypsophlorate.
sort of gypsophlorate would do.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you buy it where it's pre-diluted, it doesn't work very well. I like to use a concentrate, and you store the concentrate in a dark shed or cupboard. It'll last you for years.
Awesome. Okay, cool. There you go, Reese. All right, great. Well, let's wrap it up with this last question here. Chris from ESIS World saying, hi again, Chris. Do you have any early pruning tips or maintenance tips for me as I'm growing a Eucalyptus saligna, Sydney blue gum, 4 meters from the road on my property, currently 22 years in grown, 2 years from seed in ground, not 22. Typo.
Right, okay. Look, I think your eucalypt, I would tend to prune it August. August
okay.
would be a good time, and then
Yeah.
just take off whatever's, you want to start shaping it to get it nice shape, nice and straight.
Yeah.
And also, with it being close to the road, you don't want branches heading low on the road, so you want to keep those branches that are towards the road heading upwards. And you can kind of, with good pruning and looking where the plant's going, you can actually steer the direction of growth of the plant.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's gonna leave. We're gonna leave the live Q&A there, guys. Thank you so much to everyone. We've got a couple of additional questions in. Thanks so much to everyone who's asked a question today. If you enjoyed this live, please like it before we end it. Hit the like button for us right now, and we'll be back. We're gonna be back next Monday with another live one, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
So
Thank you
back
so
on
much.
Monday, and on Friday we've got our live auction.
Live auction with the too many plants.
Too many plants, and what it is, we're going, all the growers, what's happened is that plant sales have fallen enormously, because what it is with the economy tightening up, plants are something that people want, but they don't necessarily have to buy, and so some people are struggling financially, have stopped buying plants, and so what we're doing is we're stimulating demand for plants. And if you come down to Hello and you even spend $1,
You're
we
gonna
chuck
get
in
a
a
freebie.
beautiful, healthy lavender plant for
That's
you.
awesome.
And you spend $100, which is easy to do. It's just a couple of giant gunnerers. Spend $100 and you get
Couple of giant gunnerers.
a $30 Little Gem Magnolia. They're the ones that have beautiful white
Yeah,
flowers. They're
for free.
evergreen. Melbourne's most popular magnolia.